I was told the other day that our friends at EA Sports committed a hate crime against several universities. And I said, well, that sounds serious. What happened? Well, it turns out they did the worst thing that you could do. They released the toughest places to play in college football list and didn't put everyone at the exact proper order that everyone believes they should be placed. And so I had to go look for myself. And I got to be honest, sometimes there's false outrage in this great sport of ours, which is great. I participate a lot. This is not false outrage, okay? They just got this wrong. Now, I don't know exactly how they define toughest places to play. It could just be who has the best winning percentage at home. It could be that over the past 5 years. It could be any of a number of things. But I got to tell you, Bradley, throw that back up for a second. I got to tell you something. There is some mild oversight here. There's some mild under and overrating, but there is some egregious oversight. So if you're listening on podcast, let me quickly tell you their 1 through 10. LSU, Penn State, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. It's already terribly flawed. Clemson 6, Florida 7, Oklahoma 8, Oregon 9, Michigan 10. All right, keep that up, Bradley. Immunity. You hope. What are we doing with Ohio State number 3? LSU 1, no problem. Penn State number 2, no problem. Mind you, I go to all these places. I stand on the field. This is an intentional flex. I got the greatest job in the world. I am uniquely qualified to comment on these matters because I go to all these places when they're at their best, theoretically. So I've seen most all of them. Ohio State is not a top 5. Ohio State wins all the time because Ohio State's really good. So if you're telling me Ohio State belongs in the top 3 because their home winning percentage is through the roof, I would encourage you to look at Ohio State's winning percentage no matter where they're playing. So if that's the case, we have different criteria. What I'm talking about is like how much better is a team at home because of the environment that is created there? How worse is a team when they go into your building than they would have been elsewhere? Like that's what makes a tough place to play. When I'm standing next to someone on the sideline and I'm trying to talk to them and they're staring right at me but still going, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. That's a tough place to play. Ohio State's great, but it's not top 5. Georgia's not top 5 either. Bama, although better now that Saban's gone and everyone doesn't sit on their hands and just yawn and take for granted that they're going to win, Bama's not top 5. So 3, 4, 5, they will be out. I'm about to release mine in a few minutes, by the way. Clemson is okay. Florida's okay. Oklahoma, I went back and forth. I was there for the Tennessee game last year, very lively. I still thought maybe a tick off of the upper echelon elites. Oregon absolutely belongs higher than number 9. Michigan does not belong in the top 10. And I've seen Michigan with Ohio State in town, a phenomenal atmosphere. But again, you're talking about going against the heavyweight cathedrals in this sport, and some of these places are built up, and your place is built out. You got 400,000 people in there, but I think architecture hurts you a little bit. They went further than that. Like they went all the way to, I believe, a number 20 or something like that. I'm just quickly going to tell you, A&M at 11, properly rated. The crime against humanity is Tennessee at number 12, but we're going to make it right in just a second. Texas at 13, all right. Florida State, 14, all right. Wisconsin, 15, never been there. So I got to take your word for it. South Carolina, it belongs higher than 16. Auburn and Washington at 17 and 18 make me wonder if anyone's ever even been to those places. Iowa at 19, I could say the same. Utah at 20, okay. Listen, when you watch someone getting beat up on the side of the road, you can either take pictures of it and post it on the gram, or you could go break up the fight. So, I saw this happening. I saw legitimate harm being done to this great sport of ours, tongue-in-cheek, there it is. And I said, I got to go break this up. I got to do something about this. I know all these places. I've seen all these places. I know which places are the toughest to go play. So you know what? I got it right here. The toughest places to me, and this is definitive, and we all agree that I'm the authority on this, right? Speak up now. All right, Jesse, Bradley, I don't hear anybody. Okay, so yeah, we all agree that I'm the authority on this. I'm going to go 12-1. because that's the amount of teams that we can fit on the graphic and make it look good. I have got Georgia at number 12. Georgia this year has an opportunity to skyrocket up this list because Georgia finally has a really, really legitimate home slate. They've got Texas coming in there, they got Ole Miss coming in there, they got Bama coming in there. Georgia doesn't get a ton of big games at home. They're kind of like Bama has been for a long time. When is Georgia threatened? Georgia rarely feels threatened. Tennessee game, kinda, sometimes, like last year, but by and large, no. So I put Georgia at 12 with a ton of room to vault back up. Texas A&M I've got at 11. Texas A&M is one of the more underrated places in the country, both as the program's potential and also home field. People always have an axe to grind about the culture, and they really emphasize the first 4 letters in the word culture when it comes to Texas A&M. But I got no problem with it because I just call that tradition. You call it culture, I call it tradition. The place is insanely loud. And I also think that they're just sort of at the period now where they can get back into competing. They can get back into the groove of like being a contender. And so you'll get to see Kyle Field on display a lot more. But I've been there. I know what it's about. So I got it at number 11. I put Ohio State at number 10. While I'm not as high on Ohio Stadium in terms of an environment as EA, it's still a really, really good environment. So make no mistake about it. Like, I've been there for several big games, including night games. For some reason, people think I haven't been there for a night game. I've been there. I was there for the Tennessee game. That was a playoff game last year. So, yes, we'll gladly put the Horseshoe in the top 10, just not the top 5. It's partly a credit to the fact that you guys have won for so long that, again, you don't feel threatened a whole lot. And then I've been in there, when Michigan's come in there, and you know good and well you're supposed to beat them. So there's this nervousness, very, very surreal. But yeah, Ohio Stadium, top 10, just not top 5. Clemson at number 9. Clemson, great atmosphere. Got no complaints. I also think that it's just a wonderful thing that we get to see that place in week 1 this year. LSU going to Clemson, not Atlanta, not New Orleans, great American cities, but college football needs to be played on home campi, plural of campus, and we get to see Clemson in all of its glory. So release the balloons. Dabo outrun his entire roster down the hill. Let's go. Clemson at number 9. I got Alabama at number 8. I think last year's Georgia game sort of reemphasized what Bryant-Denny Stadium is supposed to be. Bryant-Denny Stadium for a long time, because of the guy the field is now named after, had fallen down this list. It is a consequence of continued success. It's tough to go in there and feel threatened when you're favored by double digits every week, and you got an entire season, like a generation now, really, of season ticket holders and students and alumni that have become conditioned to it. Well, then last year, all of a sudden you're not conditioned to it and you feel very vulnerable. And then Georgia comes in there and place is just on fire. It may have been the best atmosphere we experienced all of last year was that Georgia-Alabama game. Now I'm putting Bama at 8 because I need to see more for it. I mean, here's what I think about Bama. I think that place was louder before they finished the full enclosure of the end zone construction projects because they hadn't become conditioned to being a national title favorite every year. Back then, the trade-off to all the enhanced amenities and the increased capacity was you got that because Saban was winning a whole lot, which just means 101,000 people that are fairly into it does not out-audible 88,000 people that are really into it. But you could have both. You could have both. Number 7, oh, this ought to go over well down there. Auburn. Auburn is at its best, one of the best in the country. I'm going to have people who are going to throw Auburn's home record in my face. They're going to point out that Diego Pavia and New Mexico State went in there and won. Having a great home field atmosphere, being a tough place to play, doesn't overcome your team sucking. There's no amount. You could just line jet engines up around the field, and if your team sucks, they just suck. And the place is going to look like a COVID game by the fourth quarter because there's going to be 5 feet between every spectator that's left, mainly family and close friends of players. But when Auburn is decent to good and you get a big game in Jordan-Hare Stadium, the only people who doubt that are people who haven't been in there. Jordan-Hare Stadium is just insane. It may be low at number 7. Really, it may be low at number 7. Call up Kirby Smart. Call up Saban. Call up Les Miles, like back in the day when LSU would go in there. So Jordan-Hare Stadium gets slept on because their team's not perennially good. Auburn's good in flashes. So you only get to see what I'm talking about in flashes. But when you see it, and especially if you've experienced it, if you've ever been in there, you know what I'm talking about. The next place, take everything I just said about Auburn, and it applies even more to the next place. Hey, quick timeout. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, make sure you do. It's free. It doesn't obligate you or sign you up for anything. It just helps us keep the channel free. All right, back to the show. They didn't have Washington in the top 10. Washington is amazing. Husky Stadium, when Washington's good and there's a big game there, I don't care what the capacity is. Most of you will doubt this. I don't think you've ever been there. I hadn't for a long time. Until 2 years ago, I had never been up there. So I mocked people when they talked about how loud and intimidating Husky Stadium was. And like pretty much everything Washington did to me 2 years ago, I got my mouth shut when I went up there for the Oregon game. I don't need it explained to me in physiological terms or even terms of architecture. Whatever it is, it sounds like a runway at SeaTac, which is the airport up there. It's just amazing. Unbelievable sustained decibel level. And so not only do you get beautiful scenery, you get an incredibly loud and hostile and intimidating environment. You are going to have people from Ocala, Florida, and Spartanburg, South Carolina, who are going to argue this till they're blue in the face, and they've never been there. Go to a game there, a big one, where Washington's good, and it's competitive through 4 quarters, and you won't come back feeling the same way. Washington is an insanely hard place to go play. Oregon's right there with them. Two of the most lively, hostile places that I ever have been to watch college football games, Seattle and Eugene. I put Oregon right here at actually I got one in between them. Oregon's 4. Give me Florida at number 5. EA had Florida properly rated. I think they had him at like 7 or something like that. Just a little bit higher on Florida. And this is, again, with the caveat that if Florida's not good, there's really not much the Swamp can do to help the team. But if Florida is good, there is a ton the Swamp does. This was not something that needed to be debated in the 90s and the 2000s. It was accepted. Then Florida had a downswing for an extended period of time, and people forgot about the Swamp. People started sleeping on the Swamp. And that's a mistake. That's a big mistake. I am a believer that the Texas game this year is the Swamp's opportunity. That is Florida's opportunity to reestablish the home field environment and the home field edge that's always been there. It's just waiting to be taken advantage of. The Miami game was their opportunity last year, but they tripped over themselves. It got dominated by Miami is another way to put that. So I got Ben Hill Griffin Stadium down there, the Swamp at number 5. I got Autzen Stadium at number 4. We went up there for the Ohio State game this past year. Incredible. Incredible. I was with several Ohio State people. Let me just leave it at that. Before, during, and after the game. Mainly before and during the game. I was with a lot of Ohio State folks that obviously they've been to the shoe a lot. And they came out there and it was like they might as well have been taking notes. They saw what game day is supposed to be. And it was good. It was good for Ohio State to go out there and see that. And it was good for everybody with the ability to make decisions to go out there and see that. Sometimes you just need to get your shoulders shaking a little bit. And they went out there, they lost a competitive game, a great game, but more importantly for what we're talking about here, they went out there and saw this place has a fraction of the capacity as our place, and it's louder. It's crazier in here. Why is that? Well, that's part of the beauty of college football. You don't always have to have a solid reason why. But Oregon's number 4. Penn State at number 3. Noon game after noon game after noon game, but you know what? They still deliver. But what do we know about that Oregon game this year? They get the whiteout game in prime time. That's week 5, right, Jesse? It's early in the season, but it's the NBC. It's the 7:30 game, so anyone who's forgotten, hadn't been that long, but anyone who's forgotten what that place is under the lights, whiteout conditions, they got a little reminder coming when Oregon goes in there. That's the same night at the same time as Bama at Georgia. What a day that's going to be. So I got Penn State at number 3. I know it feels like I'm kind of skipping over them. I just don't feel like a whole lot else needs to be said. I remember we went up there a few years ago. My first game at Penn State was a whiteout game. It was weird. I think like Auburn went up there and played or something like that, and that was a whiteout game. I remember the way I experienced it was like a football game, but also a rock concert and a major pro wrestling event. That's the way I experienced it. That's the way I came back and explained it to my buddies who hadn't been there. Give me LSU at number 2. LSU's one of the things that gets hyped up a lot. Death Valley at night is one of the things that gets hyped up a lot in this sport that's not overhyped. There is really not much justice that I could do it until you've experienced it in person. Now, if you're an LSU fan, it's a fun experience. It's a very, very intimidating and hostile experience going in there as an opposing fan, much less a player, which I always thought college football should be. It's not the worst thing in the world. Like you never put your hands on anyone else and don't do what that little small cadre of OKC fans did to the little Pacers kid the other night. Don't be doing all that. But outside of that, yeah, you shouldn't feel all that comfortable when you're going into a road team's building. That's what it's like going into LSU. The smells are wonderful. The sounds are wonderful. The food beforehand is wonderful. The game's usually wonderful. Just make it a point to do it. Make it a point to go there. Just some of the most, if you cut college football open, you want to know what bleeds out of it. That right there, that's kind of what you should see bleeding out. Go ahead and throw it up, Bradley. I got all the respect in the world for the folks at EA. To have Tennessee outside the top 10 of toughest places to play in college football is evidence of drug use. Not only is Tennessee top 10, Neyland Stadium's the toughest place to play in college football. Don't start with me. You can go argue with this wall over here. I've been there for the best of it. This right here is not footage that we ripped from a network. That is straight from the eye, Josh. I shot this myself. I've been there. I've been a part of it. Deafening. And also, there is the psychological factor of the fact that Rocky Top's the most annoying sound in the world to anyone who's not a Tennessee fan. So you practice with it all week, blaring on the loudspeakers, and everyone's drilling it into your head. You got to go beat Tennessee, or this is what you're going to hear. And it's great if you go beat them and shut them up. But if you don't, do you know what it's like to be trailing Tennessee? Tennessee takes the lead on you in the fourth quarter, and they're just blaring Rocky Top. You got 100,000+ people singing it at the top of their lungs. Psychologically, it does something to you because you convinced yourself all week, we ain't letting that happen. And then it starts to happen. I've never been in an avalanche before, but I imagine Tennessee taking the lead on you in the fourth quarter and Rocky Top blaring during one of the 9-minute commercial breaks you're going to take, depending on the network. That's what an avalanche of orange feels like. Bill Martin, avalanche of orange. Get the marketing ready. Get the promotion machine ready. So I not only do I have them top 10, not only do I have them top 5, I got Tennessee as the number 1 toughest place to play in college football. These are non-negotiable. They are not debatable. These are not opinion. This is fact. You take that to the bank, and it's fluid. It could change year to year, but these are the definitive rankings right now. Not even ratings. These are rankings, and you can take that to the bank. So congratulations to Tennessee. Someone loves you, at least. Someone, mainly just the people who are paying attention.